Yo, Daniel, what's up? It's time. We're semi-proing and we're film
Take your
showing.
penis out, and you touch yourself.
All right, so we're here today.
So are all four of them fantastic, or
They're
what's
all
the idea?
fantastic.
All four fantastic people, individuals
Daddy needs to get his
in
rocks
a
off.
group.
Today we're watching the movie that inspired an
Is there a
entire
little girl here
season.
all by herself?
We're watching a movie that inspired an entire season of the television series Arrested Development.
Right. The worst season, probably.
Yeah, but the
I don't
best,
really
the
remember.
best part of the worst season.
In your opinion, I don't really remember it enough. I feel like I remember liking the.
I like this
Something
stuff
else?
from that season of Arrested
Yeah,
Development.
I do.
We're
yeah.
watching the
It's fun.
second
This-
best Fantastic Four movie.
What are we talking here?
Probably?
Like, definitely not
2000
technically.
2004's the best, and then it's
Sure.
this, then Rise of Silver Surfer, then Fantastic.
On what level? What are we defining as best? You know,
I don't know. Most
enjoyable. Yeah, if it's most enjoyable, I'll
If it's
say
most enjoyable, it might just be the best.
maybe. It's been a while since I've seen any of the other ones.
Looks like we're
I
doing
think the
Fantastic
most-
Four sweep, right?
Right. I think the most recent Fantastic Four movie I've seen probably was Fanforstic. Whenever I watched that, the only time I've seen it.
We're
Like,
watching a movie that came out the
whenever.
same year as The Mask. A movie that came out the
Where's
same
The
year
Mask? I have that
as
movie on DVD.
Shawshank Redemption.
Don't have that on DVD.
A movie that came out-
It's not as good as The
A
Mask.
movie that came out the same year as True Lies. A movie that
Sure.
came out the same year as The Crow.
Ah,
A movie that,
killed Brandon Lee.
yeah, it came out the same year as Forrest Gump. A movie that came
killed
out
Tom Hanks.
the same year as Pulp Fiction.
Movie
Lots
that
of
killed
great
John Travolta.
Lots of great films came out this year. But so we're watching
But-
Fantastic Four. It's from 1994, and we're gonna Fantastic on the Force.
Hold on, say that again. Say that one more time. 1990. What?
Yeah, it's Fantastic Four. We're 1994 in. I don't know how to talk about
I
this.
gotta say, it is pretty fantastic.
I genuinely don't know how to talk about
Hold
this
on.
movie.
Say that again.
Hold on. Say that again.
One more time.
Say that one more time.
I mean, it's just the four of us, you know, but it is pretty fantastic.
No, what is it? He's like
it's just
Human
the four-
Torch says
now that
something.
it's-
He's like
now that it's just the four
the
of
thing
us.
that nobody wanted.
Well, it's like, okay, so it's, well, you know, we need a team for the four of us. And then they're bouncing stupid ideas, and then it's like, oh yeah, you know, we've really come a long way.
We
I
come a
gotta
long
say,
way
it
since
is-
Boston.
It is pretty fantastic.
Wait.
Say that again.
Yeah. That's
then-
that's Fantastic.
Then J.K. Simmons says, "Shut the fuck up," and he yells at Mr. Fantastic for not being a good enough drummer or whatever.
That's Whiplash, I think.
No, Whiplash is what Sue Storm gets when Reed Richard catches her by the back of the head and drags her back to him.
Maybe.
And this is after he groomed her.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, let's not.
We're gonna talk about it.
Yeah. So yeah, Roger Corman's Fantastic Four 1994 movie, never officially released. Doesn't
Yeah, we definitely
really
have to talk about
exist.
that for sure.
Yeah, and did we ever establish if Corman actually directed? I know he produced it. You think he directed it? I'm thinking he didn't. I don't know.
Probably. I think he directed it. It seems like the kind of thing that I'd be like, oh, he directed it, so he did it. But I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, I'm about to look it up.
1994.
Yeah.
Directed by Ole Sassoni.
A man who's never directed another movie
yeah.
ever in his life. I don't know.
it's yeah, definitely, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's a movie. It's the
yeah.
second best Fantastic Four movie.
Right. It's my favorite Fantastic Four
It
movie.
I don't know. I really like.
Very, very well could be. It could be the I just saw it and I haven't seen any of the other ones, and this is probably my new favorite bad movie in general.
That, yes. So
But
the director of this movie directed 5 episodes of Xena Warrior Princess
oh, nice.
and was a producer on the movie Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken.
Can't they?
They can't be.
Oh,
He was a
thought they
cinematographer
could.
on a bunch of stuff, including Jontana the River, Buckwheat
Oh,
Zydeco, Hey Good Lookin', John Lee Hooker,
uh,
Baby Lee, Family Style with Chef Jeff, and Flip My Food with Chef Jeff.
name was Chef Jeff.
He's directed a bunch of shorts, including a TV series called Mutant X in
Yo, shorts like
2003.
YouTube, YouTube Shorts. He's directing YouTube Shorts. That's cracked. That's fucking
Um,
sick,
he
dude.
did nothing before this that would signify, hey, I can direct a Fantastic Four movie.
Right,
I don't know.
but he can
We need to
kind
set the
of.
scene first. We need to set the scene for the
Okay,
era in which this
so
came out, because keep in mind the
yeah,
people watching this, they might not be, they might be 18, 17, right?
sure,
15, right?
sure.
12. Maybe 12.
Sure.
Hope not, but they might be 12.
Maybe eight.
They
You know
might
what
be
I mean?
7 years old,
Maybe
right?
they could. This could be a toddler watching this.
They might have been
This
born
could be a
in
toddler on
in
an iPad.
2019. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what an era before the MCU looked like.
Right.
We
Right.
do, right? Me
Yeah.
maybe more so than you. How many? I'm like a year or two older than you.
You're
2 years.
2 years older than me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So
It's a
even I
little
have a
more.
little bit of that, like, because I was only 8 when Iron Man came out, right? But I have that little, just that little bit of like,
Right.
right? Because you were 6, I was 8. I'm a big boy.
Right. Right. Big
You know?
dog. Yeah.
The era before the MCU was a wasteland. Not just for Marvel movies, especially for Marvel movies, but for comic book movies in general. Especially the era before Spider-Man, which I don't remember. I was 2 when Spider-Man came out. But this
Right.
era before the MCU, before comic book movies became what comic book movies are, it was a nightmare and it was a wasteland. Nobody thought they could be adapted because everybody was like, well, they're talking pictures on a book. You can't make talking pictures into a movie. And it was just like, it was a nightmare of an era to live in. And amidst this nightmare, suddenly a few of them begin to pop off, right? You have Superman 76 or 78,
Mhm.
whenever that movie came out.
78, like my pin
73,
number.
72 maybe. Superman
78, like my pin number.
Chris Reeves Superman comes out. People are like, "Oh,
The other
okay."
number's 69 if you want my PIN number. It's
Right.
6978. If anyone ever steals my my debit card, now you can use it.
and then so Superman comes out and then they make 3 more and they're horrible. And then a Batman movie comes out and it's pretty good. Like, it's really good. And then a second one comes out, it's really weird and McDonald's hates it or
It's
something. It's really
what?
there's a whole thing.
McDonald's
McDonald's
beefs with
bought
Batman Returns?
Yeah, McDonald's bought a bunch of Happy Meal toys for Batman Returns and then got mad that the movie was like disgustingly horrible and gross. And they
I wouldn't call Batman Returns that. I'd say it's maybe
I'd call it gross.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely
It's good, but it's
disgusting.
gross.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so
right.
McDonald's is like, we can't sell these toys to kids and we've wasted a lot of money. And then there's
Right,
2 more
right.
Batman movies. One of them I stand by is great, which is Batman Forever.
I
And
stand
then
by both of them as fantastic works of art by the late great Joel Schumacher.
but they make
Um,
money and they make a lot. All of
yeah,
these
they
movies
sell a
we've talked
lot of
about,
toys. They sell a lot of toys.
all of
Those
these
two.
movies we've talked about make a lot of money. And so
Mhm.
everybody's like,
Some more
okay.
than others, but yeah.
Yes, but anyway, all of these people are like, okay, we can make money on these movies. So your Howard the Ducks begin to pop up, right? Howard the Duck gets
Mhm.
gets this thing. It's supposed to be, it's a theatrical release. Howard the Duck got a theatrical release. It's the only movie in
Right,
this
first
sweep.
theatrically released. No, they're not. Yeah,
Yeah, first
yeah,
theatrically
first
released Marvel
theatrically
movie, other
released,
than
and
like
yeah,
serials. Yeah,
only one in the sweep, unless we watch
I
Blade,
think Blade will be next
which
week, or
yeah,
we'll do Daredevil next week. We'll decide later. But anyway,
Right. Yeah.
so Captain America gets made, doesn't get a theatrical release, gets pushed back. Howard the Duck gets a theatrical release, and it's this like wasteland of we haven't figured this out yet. Because you look at the first Superman movie it's like, okay, this is a comic book movie, we're doing our own thing. It's not a Superman movie. It is, right? And Christopher Reeve does a good job playing Superman, but it's not like, oh, we're gonna do a beat for beat comic retelling
Right.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's not. It doesn't care about the source material other than Krypton, which is what
Yeah. Other
Marlon
than it being
Brando,
Superman
right?
and
Lois
Zod
Lane,
and
yeah.
or Lex Luthor,
Zod,
whichever one
yeah,
is.
it's Lex
Zod,
Luthor.
Zod
in
is
person.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, like sure, and then Batman, the Tim Burton Batman movies, other than character names, does not care about the source material whatsoever. So it's like its own little
Right.
thing. They don't know how to work it. Like they don't know the thing. Well, this company, whoever made this movie, I don't even remember what the company's name was. They have the rights to Fantastic
Corman
Four.
Production Incorporation.
Sure. They have the rights to the Fantastic Four, which has been a very popular comic book series, and at this point was a very popular animated series at the time. And so they
Right,
have the
right.
rights to
MF
this.
Doom sampled that
Yeah, they right.
reference.
They have the rights
Reference.
to this comic book thing, the Fantastic Four, which is one of the most popular comic books of all time. And
Maybe.
they
I don't know.
and their rights are about to run out. They haven't figured out how to make a movie yet. They won't figure that out for about another 10 years, and even then they won't figure it out. They won't figure it out for about another 40 years. The rights will have to revert
the
back
gist
to
of it.
another studio. They haven't
Yeah.
figured it out. So, but they have to make a movie or they're going to lose their rights. They're going to lose the rights to the Fantastic Four. They want to keep the rights to the Fantastic Four. So they hire Robert Corman.
That's close to his name.
What is his name? Roger. Roger Corman.
Roger, I believe. Yeah.
Roger Corman. They hire
They hired
Roger.
Richard Corman.
They hire Roger Corman. All right. And they say, boy.
They say read a Fantastic Four comic and make that a movie.
And he
said,
said,
I don't
can't
know how to read. But I'll have one of my PAs do that.
It is so close to just the regular comic book that Jack Kirby has a writing credit, not a producer credit,
Yeah.
a writing credit on this movie. He is a writer on this movie.
Yeah, no, this movie directly, I mean, we said it as a joke a bunch while watching it, but this movie directly used whatever first Fantastic Four comic or comic run just as a storyboard.
Yes, for sure. Like had to
Like-
have. And I think the script. I don't think it's just a storyboard.
Yeah.
I literally think it's the script.
I think maybe there's a few more changes because there is I think another writer credited other than just Jack Kirby. Like there is someone is credited as writing this movie, so there must be at least bare minimum changes.
Roger
But-
Corman,
or it could just be padding. It could just be
maybe.
because comic isn't going to be a full movie.
Right.
Padded
I
and
genuinely
bullshit.
think it's like, okay, here's the comic. We're going to add some things to make this a movie. Roger Corman was
Right.
given just like a few $1 million, which seems like a lot of money. It's not a lot in the grand scheme
Yeah.
of movies. He was given a few $1 million, apparently spent almost all of it on the Thing's costume, and then just
right, which shows.
it's for sure shows. Roger Corman, who's famous for lots of things, like he's probably one of the most
A
famous.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes, he was a writer on Little Shop of Horrors. He's directed
that one, I think.
Did he?
I wanna
Maybe.
say.
I know he also wrote on that one.
Right. I want to say that. Yeah, that's just a him thing.
He's like the B movie
he's
guy.
like he's a cult B movie classic man.
I mean,
Did-
he's
did a bunch
the
of-
guy who made
Yeah.
the B movie. Your favorite B
Right.
movie? He made it. Whether it's Terminator
Right.
Man or Robot Jocks or
Right.
Alien
Death
Avenger
Stalker
2,
you
Death
know.
Stalker 2. That's right. Yeah.
That's not anyone's favorite bad movie.
No,
though.
nobody else has seen it other than us. Piranha, the TV movie from 1995. Like, if you look through this man's director credits on IMDb, let me see if I can get the total number here so you can see how many movies Roger Corman has directed. Movies and TV shows. 494.
Yeah.
Most directors
He's a hustler.
have like
Raji's a
10.
hustler, baby.
Yes, he is. And he
Yeah.
makes movies as quickly and as cheaply as he possibly can. So they give him a few $1,000,000. He goes, cool, I saw this rock guy in the comic book. I couldn't read it. I don't know what his name is.
Right. I don't know how to read.
We're going to make
he's some kind of
this.
big thing. He's some kind of big rock
He's
thing.
some kind of big kind of rock thing. We're going to make this. Bam. I'm going to make the rest of the movie for free. Right? And then, so they put all this work into this movie. They hire all these actors. They make this movie for a few $1,000,000 as a tax break for the company, and so that they can keep the rights,
And,
never
yeah.
even release it. And the story goes, it's kind of like an urban legend at this point. I don't know how true it is. I don't know anything. Back in the early days of Comic-Con, before it turned into what it is now, when it was just a bunch of nerds hanging out, just like actual real nerds hanging out, they used to have DVD booths where they would sell pirated movies, like pirated comic book movies, whatever. And a lot of them would be these kinds of things. So Captain America 1990 was in there. This was one of those. And that's how people found out about this. It would be like a DVD rip or whatever of this 90s movie that no one ever saw. Oh, you love the Fantastic Four because you're a weird nerd. Here's a DVD copy.
Here's this thing, yeah.
Right. Wait, was that a reference?
I don't get it.
You said thing. You're not allowed to say the word thing in this discussion.
I don't get it.
Anyway, and so that's how people found out about it, and legend kind of spread, and it became this whole thing about... That's a reference. It became this whole thing. It became this whole thing, like, urban legend. Oh, they made this movie. It got canned, whatever, Roger Corman. And now, in the age of the internet and YouTube and whatever, you can literally YouTube search Fantastic Four in 1994 and find a 2K AI restoration of this movie, which is what we watched.
Yeah. Shout out. What was the guy's name? Anarchy something?
Anarchy something. Yeah. Check him out.
Shout out
if
the
you
boy.
if you Google
just look up Fantastic Four
2K
1994
restoration
on YouTube.
Yeah. He's got lots of different versions. This was the one we watched was the most recent. Apparently he did some color correction on it or something to make it look more like the trailer. Whatever.
Cool.
Nerd. You're a nerd. But thank you.
Yeah, but shout out.
And this movie
Shout out
kinda,
OG.
this movie kind of kicks off. It doesn't follow the same story beats that the rest of the movies in this sweep has, because both Howard the Duck and Captain America 1990 were like, okay, the first 20 minutes we're just gonna stack with action. And then the next 40 minutes are going to be the most boring thing you've ever seen.
This almost follows the structure of a legitimate movie.
This is easily the best movie we've seen so far in this sweep. Probably not from a technical level, definitely from a script perspective.
Yeah.
And I think is pretty solid.
Right.
Not good.
I really enjoy
It's
this
not good.
movie.
It's
not
fun,
good, but
and it's solid.
I enjoy. I would say that I love this movie.
This has become, in this one viewing, one of my favorite bad movies for sure.
Yeah.
I said that while we were watching it. I was like, yeah, this has become one of my favorite bad movies. I laughed more watching this movie than I've laughed in a long time in a movie, because these things are horrible and miserable, and I hate them. I hate this. I hate what we do. Yes.
You mean movie? Man, I fucking hate movies, bro.
We had more little comments to make than we normally have, but at the same
this was
time,
a blast to watch.
the story was still engaging.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like, oh, we're making fun. It wasn't a Room. It wasn't a The Room where it's like, oh,
although
we're making.
it did have Denny.
It did have Denny from The Room. It wasn't that we were just making fun of, and it had Lenny from
from the mice. Yeah.
It wasn't just like, oh, we're making fun of this the whole time. Whatever. Like, there was a story to keep us engaged. And so I guess with that, we'll kind of jump into the plot. Am I doing the plot? Am I doing plot breakdown?
I think you're. I think I did Howard. So I think
you did Howard.
It's you.
So it kicks off in college, right? It kicks off. We're in college, right? Number one, it kicks off with the opening credits. Some of the worst looking opening credits that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Fast forward. Just go ahead and skip through them. It's just planets. They look really cool for something that's as horrible as they are, but they're really bad. So we get their opening credits and we're in college now, and it's three friends
Right.
who
It's
are
yeah, it's
there.
some professor. Well, let's see. Yeah, first we see two
I
friends. It's some
think the
professor.
professor is played by Roger Corman. I think
Oh, maybe, yeah. But he's talking about nothing, talking about science nonsense, and that's then there's
he's one
there's a
of the
smart
worst professors ever. Probably
right. Yeah.
he's he's just too
Uh,
excited. Um,
yeah.
and then there's three
Then
friends all sitting next to each other. Behind them
now one of
is
them's
Victor
are the
Von
three
Doom.
sitting next to right, yeah.
It's Victor Von Doom. Behind them, Reed Richards, who is Mr. Fantastic, played by John Krasinski,
Correct.
and Pedro Pascal, and what's his name? Gruff? Is that his name?
Eon Gruffod, I think.
Aeon Gruffod and Miles
Yeah.
Teller and whatever
Yes.
this guy's name
Whiplash.
is.
Alex Hyde something.
And then
I
sitting
remember I said
next to
Sam
him,
Hyde.
sitting next to Reed Richards is
Is
Lou
John
Ferrigno slash
Travolta.
Lenny from of Mice and Men slash John Travolta, and we'll explain that in a little bit. And they're all kind of
No,
sitting
we
next to each
won't.
other, and Doctor Doom, MF Doom hands
MF
this.
Doom.
He hands a pad of paper up to Reed Richards, and Reed Richards is like, "This number's wrong," and he writes in a new number, and he's like, "I'm brilliant. I'm the smartest man who's ever lived. Here, take your pad of paper back." And it looks like the Hadron Collider or something.
Yeah, it looks like a big old penis or something.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's a supervillain like
It's a supervillain thing, and they
thing.
get out of
Yeah.
class, and then it cuts. So we're introducing all of our characters. It cuts to the Storm
And
household.
then this is where it gets a
This is
little
where it gets a little
weird
creepy.
and uncomfortable.
This is really and for this compared to last week, if this is the most weird and uncomfortable a movie gets, I'm good
Oh,
with it.
yeah.
You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
yeah.
Last week I had to watch a duck and a woman try to make uglies. You know what I'm saying? Like this week,
right. Yeah.
home
No,
free.
nothing's weirder than the duck and
Only
fucking, you know?
only pedophilia.
Well, grooming. All right, he's only Elvis. Okay, he's not. He's not. Who's a famous pedophile?
James
Like,
Franco.
no, I think that was just like taking advantage of
Oh.
a college.
Then let him
student or
act, you know?
something. I don't think anyone's not letting him act. They're just not giving him roles 'cause he's a pedophile or whatever.
Remember that year James
But
Franco
it
was
played
in
Tommy
like
Wiseau.
remember
That
that
was
year
great, man.
he was in like it was right after he won like his first Golden Globe or something, and then he spent the next year not being in any movies. He was just in a bunch of soap operas.
Genuinely, no, I don't remember that.
That's a James Franco fact. He the year after he won an award, I think it was Spring Breakers, he won an award for, and then the next year he wasn't in any movies. He was just in a bunch of soap operas,
Good
which
for
I
him.
love that for him.
That's- yeah,
Anyway,
it's quirky.
back to this movie. We meet Sue Storm, and she's like 12, and we meet Johnny
she's a
Storm, and he's
child,
like
and
6. And
he's
for
a
whatever
child, too.
reason, I think it's like a neighborhood thing. I don't know what town they're supposed to be from, but it's like a neighborhood thing, like, oh, we grew up on the same street, because Ben is really good friends with the Storm family, and Reed is really good friends with the Storm family, and they're just really,
Right.
really close. Sue Storm has a crush on adult Reed Richards,
Right,
and
which is normal for a child, the crush
Yeah.
on an adult, whatever.
and Lenny of Mice and Men has a crush on this
Of
little
mice
boy.
and thing.
Has a, he has a crush on little Johnny Storm. No, he doesn't. He just likes to play video games with him.
Right.
And so we establish this family, the Storm family, and then we jump to the Hadron Collider or whatever it is. They're trying. What do they call it? The Colossus.
The Doom machine. The Colossus from X-Men. Yeah.
It's like the Colossus Storm, which is probably what it is in the comics. I just
Storm?
don't know. And
Yeah.
so
if it's in this movie, I have to assume
I
it's
have
what
to
it is in
assume.
the comics.
I have to assume that Roger Corman legitimately, we said it as a joke, legitimately used the comic book as
Yeah.
a storyboard for this movie.
No, straight up. Yeah.
Mole Man is in this movie. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's putting
Yeah.
Mole Man in a movie unless he's using the comic book as a storyboard. So anyway, so the thing blows up. The thing blows up, and it scars up Doom's face, and they think he's dead. Whatever. And then we jump to 10 years later, just like that. Doom is in the hospital, and his eyes are going all crazy, like he's having a stroke. And then the screen fades to black, and it says 10 years later. 10 years later,
Right.
Doom, or not Doom, Reed Richards has a job. They're in the Baxter building. The address is
Right.
444.
He has his stripes. He's got his salt and
Yeah,
pepper
I need to look this
stripes.
up, actually. What is the address of the Baxter?
I have to assume that's a comic. Like it was a question at the time because we were only like 10 minutes in. But like having seen the rest of the movie, nothing from this movie was original.
It
It's all
doesn't,
comic
it
book
doesn't
thing.
appear that, like, I can't find anything about the address. It's located at
Interesting.
42nd Street and Madison Avenue in Manhattan, New York City.
Okay.
Fantastic Four number 3 was the first appearance.
Okay.
Um,
So yeah, maybe it being at 4,444
was Roger Corman just being really
maybe,
lazy?
He's just
Somebody walked in and was like, "Hey, Roger, we need an address for this building. We're building you miniature." And he was like,
It's make
444. There's 4 of them, and there's 4 fours. I can't read. What are numbers?
When you ask Roger Corman what he wants from Wendy's, 444.
Have you seen that clip of George Lucas when they ask him what color Yoda's blood should be?
No, have you seen that clip of Harrison Ford when they ask him what Han Solo's birthday is, and he says, "I wish George Lucas died in the fire."
I thought it was favorite color.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh no! There's a clip of George Lucas, and they're like, "Hey, what? It's on the set of like Phantom Menace or one of the prequels." And they walk in, and they're like, "Hey, George, we're making this CGI Yoda. What color do you want his blood?" And George Lucas is just there, and he's like, green. I don't know." And then he just gets back to like counting his money.
Oh yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, I don't know, green.
I don't know,
He's
green. He's green. Make it green.
I-
But anyway, so
tracks,
Roger Corman, it's 444 Baxter Avenue. The Ben Grimm, who in this is Lenny from Of Mice and Men. We find this out
Yes.
when they're planning what the ship. They're planning the ship to go to space, and Ben's like, "Well, we got to get the Storm family," but instead of, or no, yeah, he says that, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, and then
yeah,
they
let's
show
get
up
the
at the
Storm
door,
family.
and they knock on the door, and he's like, "Hey."
He goes, "Hey, let's go to space! Hey, come on, we're going to space!"
I want some rabbits. He does. It's horrible. Like he is not good. He's really good once he turns into the
He's great
thing.
once he's the thing, yeah.
But
it really works when
beforehand,
he's the thing.
It doesn't work, and it's almost like Roger Corman or whoever directed this. Okay, Lee, what's his name?
Yeah. Ole. Something
It's
like that.
Oli
yeah.
Oli Sassone. Oli Sassoni.
So, Ole
Sassoni?
Sassafras, yeah.
Ole Sassoni. It's almost like the director was like, well, once he's the thing, it's not, the rocks aren't going to change his voice, so he needs to sound the same when he's the man.
Right.
And so, but it doesn't work. And so he's like, we're going to space and we're taking all of you with us. And
Yeah, why couldn't the rocks change his voice though? Like
I don't-
it's like his
I
like
don't
lungs
know.
or like voice box turns to rocks, so he's
ask
like gravelly or
ask
something.
Ole Safoni?
Yeah,
it's
I'll
just-
take it up with Roger and Ole.
This man who directed 5 episodes of Xeno Warrior Princess and this
Right,
movie,
my
and that
boy.
was it. Oh no, he's got 42 director
Something
credits.
else. Yeah, I'm sure they're all movies
Nothing.
of note. Nah,
Let's see. Oh, 2006 Cradle of Lies. Let's see what he directed before this. Probably nothing. Dino: Sunshine, which is a music video. He apparently directed a lot of music video. He was a big music video director leading up to this movie.
Huh.
That makes sense. I feel that actually
Does it?
when watching this movie. It feels like a music video. Now that I've said
Yeah.
that, 90s music, like the scene with the thing where he spins.
Okay, sure, that one scene, yeah.
Anyway, so they go to space.
They do go to space.
They go to space, but the Mole Man shows up. Number one, Ben Grimm crashes into a blind woman.
Yeah, Ben Grimm and blind woman, Miss Masters, first name unknown.
Unknown.
By me, at least. They probably
Because they
say it,
don't
but
say it in this movie.
They probably do, but we talked over it or something. We were making jokes about his penis or something. I don't
Right.
know.
We were making jokes
Um,
about how he's Lenny from Of Mice and Men.
right. He's gonna accidentally murder her, and then whole town's gonna be out to get him. So Reed Richards gonna have to shoot him in the back of the head. I mean,
Right. Right.
you gotta do it. You don't want to do it, but
I'm sorry, Lenny. I'm sorry. I had to do it, Lenny. I'll take you to see the rabbits.
So
I'm
he
James
knocks her over.
Franco. Because James Franco played Lenny in a stage play of Mice and Men to bring that full circle.
Right, and he played Tommy Wiseau in The Disaster Artist.
Who is just real life Lenny from The Office.
So Ben Grimm falls in love with this blind woman. Then she feels his face and falls in love with him because he feels like John Travolta.
He feels like an attractive man?
Right. Doesn't look like one, but I guess he feels like one. And then that happens. He says, "I'm in love," and she sculpts something because she's a sculptor, and and then they go to space, and Mole Man breaks into this place. I guess it's the Baxter Building that they're doing it from. Where the big turtle diamond is. There's a big diamond that looks like a turtle with fish eggs on it. And he takes that diamond, switches it. Indiana Joneses it with a fake diamond that causes them to explode, I guess.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
like
get their
when they're on the ship, the fake diamond is like
the diamond was doing some science thing to keep them
balanced in the storm?
balanced in stasis.
No, it was the power. The ship ran on diamonds.
Oh yeah, it was it was a diamond powered ship. Of course. Of course. Silly me.
It was a turtle with fish eggs, and it was a dry land turtle with
it was
fish
a dry
eggs.
land terrapin with fish eggs.
and,
Yo, come here, Luna.
and a dead fish on its back that was decomposing, but not
It
completely decomposed.
Yeah, it was still there a little bit. Yeah, and I got a cat. Everyone say hi to my cat. Her name's Luna. If you comment "Hi Luna" on your Instagram, I'll follow you on Instagram from my very popular Instagram page, Savage Comics. Say hi, Luna.
Put her up to the mouth. Make her meow.
Luna, meow. Meow. Do you
Meow.
want food?
Meow.
Oh my god, that was her. She really did.
I think the camera cut to me, probably. Oh, anyway. So they swap out the diamond, the real diamond that powers the spaceship.
Indiana Jones, the diamond-powered spaceship.
The mole man. He's a mole man.
The mole man who looks like the leprechaun.
He looks just like Leprechaun from the Leprechaun movies. Not like a little. He looks just like Leprechaun from the Leprechaun movies.
Yeah.
Like not just like, oh, he's Leprechaun from the Leprechaun. Ah, ha, ha, like we normally do. It's not a Lou Ferrigno thing where we're Lou Ferrignoing this. He looks like Leprechaun from the Leprechaun movies. He swaps it out, and then the ship explodes, and then
it explodes,
and
they're
it
presumed
explodes.
Dead, and yeah, and then they think they're dead, but really they're just on the ground. Fine with powers, you know.
Yes,
they got superpowers.
They are. They're like it's this huge space explosion. And you're like, oh, how?
Oh, they are clearly dead,
and
there's no way they will survive.
The movie does, and I imagine that's what it is in like the comic book too, because it came out in like the '60s, whatever. It's like, oh, it's this big panel of a spaceship explosion. Now we cut to the Earth.
Then next thing it's a spaceship wreck with fires, and you can see one of them recovering from the wreck, and
and it's Reed. No, it was Ben Grimm.
No, I think it's. Is it Ben Grimm?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, because then he saves Reed Richards because he's big and strong.
Yeah, he pulls the thing off of him, and then Johnny comes running over this hill, and he comes running, and he's like jumping over stuff. And he's like, guys, that was awesome. That was so cool.
Guys, oh my god, right? Oh my god, that was so cool. Yeah.
And then
we make a joke. We're like, oh my god, where's Sue? Like, she's there. We just can't see her.
And then they do that
immediately after they do that. Which again, gotta be a comic thing.
Gotta be. Had to be.
I mean, it had to be. It's the
And
most renowned comic in the world, you
and
know?
so yeah, that's they say that in the trailer, I think. And
Right.
so then they all like discover Sue almost falls onto his bike, and Reed reaches back and grabs her
Yeah.
neck.
He,
It looks
he
like this. Like you see it where my arm is at on the camera,
right.
like right. Wait, let me. Yeah, like oh, I think it's here. Like this. That's what it looks like. And then her hand just curls behind her neck and pulls it closer to him, and then she gives him a hug.
Yeah, it's great.
It's creepy because she was just a child
Yeah,
3 minutes
it's
ago.
the relationship is weird. Again, assuming it's a comic thing doesn't excuse it. Just means Jack Kirby is a horrible pervert. But I could have
Right.
assumed
Who
that.
Jack Kirby, who has a writing credit on this movie.
Correct, because he wrote this movie because it is his comic
So
one for one.
Johnny Storm figures out he sneezes. Fire comes out of
Yeah,
his nose.
he has a poorly acted fake sneeze, but he commits to it, and I respect it. And then he sneezes out flames.
I
And
really
it looks
like
stupid
this
and
part.
bad,
This part in
but
a better movie, in a more genuinely. So I say this.
in this movie
They
was
say
very
that
fun. I
Fantastic
liked
Four
this
is really
part.
hard to adapt, right? Like they say that. They're like, oh, with Fantastic Four, it's impossible to adapt. Whatever, you can't make it good. This movie, straight up, you do this movie, but you take the script and you make it work, right? You make the dialogue work. You
Right.
hire good actors, whatever. This part's fantastic. I like the part.
Wait, say that again.
The spaceship explosion, them crash landing. You put them in a pod or something, right? Them crash
Sure.
landing. This part of them figuring out their powers. This is all great. You cut the
Yeah.
Mole Man stuff out of this movie. Put better actors in it. Put a director who knows what he's doing. You've got a good Fantastic Four movie, legitimately. Them figuring out their
Right.
powers is good. Every character has a good balance of being introduced, and we care about them. Whatever. The Doctor Doom stuff needs some work, but that's not this movie's fault. That's the fact that Doctor
Right.
Doom is a stupid character.
Yeah.
Like
But I
nerds
think
nerds
even-
love Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom
Right.
is a
Dr.
stupid
Doom's
character.
a stupid ass character. Dumb as hell. His motivation is dumb.
His origin
connection
is
to Reed
dumb.
Richards is dumb.
It's
His
dumb.
entire character is dumb. He just looks really cool, and he's got one of the best rappers of all time associated with him. That's all he's got going for him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you nerds aren't getting him in Secret Wars or whatever the fuck you want. Shut
Doctor
the
Doom
fuck
is
up, man.
dumb.
He's dumb. He's
He's
so
dumb.
goddamn dumb.
But yeah, so Johnny sneezes. That's how we find out about his powers. Sue shows up. She's invisible.
Sue
we
is
find out
there,
about
and
her
she's
power.
like, "What do you mean
But
you can't
wait,
see me?"
who doesn't
Why
have
is,
a power?
Why is he
yet?
not rock? Why did he get his rocks off?
He does that later on in the movie. Save that joke
He
for later on in the movie.
does. Yeah.
Daddy needs to get his rocks off. So they go to sleep next to a fire that Johnny Storm is keeping alive because he's a fireman, and we'll see.
Oh, yeah,
we
then
see
there's-
the video of his hand.
The beginning of the real bad effects. We've gotten a couple bad effects so far, but this is the start of the real bad ones.
The effects
you
in this
know?
movie are low budget, fun
Yes,
B movie effects,
yeah.
other than the fire. And the fire
Yeah.
is like
The
anytime
fire
there's fire.
is lawnmower man.
Yeah, very much so. Anytime it's on screen. And it's not like I said this during the discussion. If I'm making this movie, and I'm not a director, nor am I a special effects supervisor, I'm making a movie where a man looks at his hand and sees a flame in it. What I'm doing is I'm getting some kind of metal hand cast, whatever. You see them all over the place. Spray painting it black, putting it on a black background, literally lighting a fire in his hand, and then I'm going to superimpose that into the movie. They don't do that. It's the
Me
worst
personally, I
looking.
do the thing. I do this actually. I'm gonna see if I can get it right on camera. I probably shouldn't do this with the rings in my hand. I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm gonna fill my hand with butane and light it on fire.
That's a good one, right? Do that.
That didn't work. But it would have worked if they did it in the movie.
Right. They could have tried
But I
enough times.
digress. Yeah. Could have gotten like a big can of butane, done it right.
Right. Put gasoline on his hand.
Yeah, it's just cover his hand in gasoline. Like, come on.
Anyway.
Commit a little.
The fire effects suck, but Reed Richards shoots a flare
Mm-hmm.
into space. But turns out where they've landed is whatever the country is that Doctor Doom is in charge of. What's it called?
Not Latvia, because that's a real country, but something.
I might be
like
Latvia. No, not.
No, because I'm pretty sure that's a real country. Unless there's a real country that sounds like that I'm.
Doctor
And
Doom
Latvia is the Doom one.
country. Latveria.
Yeah.
Latveria.
Yeah. Yeah, fictional Eastern European country of which he is the sovereign ruler, and also he went to
Somehow
college
he went to
in
college with
America
Reed
with Reed
Richards.
Richards,
It's dumb.
and he's got Javier Bardem as a bodyguard,
And
but he's
in
Transylvanian.
college, he has an American accent, but yet when he's Doctor Doom, he has an Eastern European accent.
Except for when he's Doctor Doom and he has an
Right.
American accent. uh,
But anyway, so we're in. Turns out they've landed in Latveria, but I don't think they say
yeah,
that in the movie. But they might have, and we just talked
they
over
they
it.
don't. I don't. Yeah, I don't know if they directly say it, but they imply it because then they get doomed. But they don't know they've been doomed. They think it's like the U.S. Army or whatever,
Right. They get
and they're
captured. There's a
running
doctor
tests
who's
on
got a
them.
stupid thing on his head, and he's like, I want to draw your blood, but I don't know how I'm going to do that because you're a rock. Oh, Ben Grimm turned into rocks at some point.
Oh yeah, they're like oh thank God we found you guys. You lost astronauts from space. We will save you. And then Ben Grimm shows up and he's a rock
It's like,
monster.
yo, I'm a
They're like,
rock
oh my God!
monster.
Oh my God!
Take
You're
me
gonna
to
kill
see
this
the, take me to see the rabbits.
thing. Right. And he's like, oh, what's everyone freaking out about?
And
It's just me, Ben Grimm.
And he's
I'm
my
just a thing.
favorite. Once he turns into the thing, he's my favorite. That's the
Yeah.
problem. Don't do a Fantastic Four origin movie because whoever is Ben Grimm before he's the thing will suck, and then once he's the thing, he's gonna be great.
I think that's the case for this movie alone.
Nah, the 2004
I like
Michael
I
Chiklis
like
is
Michael
no, he
Chiklis. I
sucks
like
before
Michael
he's the
Chiklis.
thing.
He's
I like him, but he
fine.
sucks before he's the
fine.
thing.
He's
And then same thing with Fan
fine.
Four Stick.
I didn't like Jamie Bell. He sucked.
I
I'll give
liked
you
him
that
as
one.
the thing, but I didn't like him
Yeah,
before
him
he
as the
was the
thing,
thing.
sure. But no, I like Michael Chiklis as Ben Grimm.
Nah, he sucks. Don't do
fine.
it. Don't do it.
He's fine. I like him.
Don't do baseball in the dump or whatever.
Right, you don't have to do that, but you can have Michael Chiklis being himself, doing whatever he's doing in that.
So we had a little debate. You prefer your favorite on-screen version of the thing is the chitless version.
Maybe I think it's. I don't know.
This is
I also
mine.
really like Fan Four Stick.
I like Fan Four Stick too. This is mine.
because he has no pants. I like all the thing designs. I really don't know what my
I just
favorite
googled
is.
all the things.
Motherfucker got a picture of everything, bro.
The chitless version has this. The chitless version for me has always felt sort of uncanny valley-ish.
See, I was gonna say it's got a nice charm to it. I don't know what it is.
It definitely has a charm to it. I think this version has that charm done better.
See, this version I think has a very different charm. It's a much more disgusting charm, which I like. I like the thing being disgusting.
When was the last time you've seen the Michael Chiklis version, though?
You mean the movie or what it looks like itself?
Yeah, like what it looks like. Because to me, it's very almost uncanny valley.
Year? I mean, just drop a picture. I'm guessing you already did.
Yeah, I'm dropping a picture. It's almost it's very.
I mean, it is. Yeah, kind of. But it's.
Although there's a picture, I need to pull it
I
up.
don't know.
There's a picture of him wearing a suit.
That, like that's just got that. That's just got this. Oh, him in the suit, him in the trench coat is my favorite in that movie. When he rocks the trench coat and like, I'm pretty sure he wears like
anytime he's
fedora
wearing clothes.
too.
Yeah, and it's
crazy.
not bad. I think I prefer
I like
this. I think I prefer this. It's got like an animatronic mouth. It looks less.
When it shows his face up close, I see the uncanny valley a bit, but it's got a charm that I just love, and a lot of it
looks like Michael Chiklis.
Nostalgia. I think. Oh well, yeah. Well, it is him,
right?
To an extent.
To a very small extent somehow.
Yeah.
But no, there's something about this one, and I do also really like the Fan Four Stick version. There's something about this one that I just really, really enjoy. I really like the.
Yeah, well, it's the face. We disagreed on the face, is what it was.
The body, the body's fine.
We both love the suit. Body is great. Very, very solid suit. Very solid. I mean, not super solid, but decent animatronic. It's a little rough.
It is very much an animatronic. Like you can tell, it looks like the '90s Turtles, right? Where that's what it was. It was an animatronic mouth that they moved.
Yeah, sometimes you can see the real mouth at some point. Yeah.
But
but it's fine. It's the 90s.
And he had
It's
that
a
big
talking
animatronic. He
rock.
had that big animatronic eyebrow,
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I really liked the big thing, Mongol brow. It went crazy.
which they also had in
It's just
Fan
it.
Four Stick.
Right. Yeah. I
I
don't know,
think
something about his face. It looks disgusting, which works, but also
it
makes me
definitely
not like
does
it that much.
more than any other version of the thing. This one is gross.
Yeah.
It's gross. Like
This is
genuinely,
this
it's
is the
disgusting.
Batman. This is the Batman Returns of
Of
Fantastic
things.
Four movies. Yeah.
But anyway, so they escape the science lab and they go and they're met by Doom, and Doom is
Doom is from the realm of
perfect.
El Camoon, I think.
He's perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
his
No,
this
he's
actor,
great.
he is overacting every scene that he is in
Yeah.
perfectly. I mean,
Yeah, and not
to,
just oh, like he's flourishing, he's talking with his hands, he's hamming it the absolute ever
at
living
one
fuck
point in this
up.
movie, he says you have 12 hours and writes out the
Writes
number
12
12 with his
backwards
fingers,
though.
but he
Writes it
does it
backwards
to
so
the
that they can
camera
see it.
instead of
Yeah,
going
it's so
where you could see it right, like
yeah.
one of those. He goes so it's backwards to the camera. It's awesome, right? And so the Fantastic Four wind up escaping, and they get back to the Baxter building, and that's when Reed Richards has his epiphany of why they got their powers, and he goes,
Oh,
"Johnny,
yeah.
you're a hothead."
Johnny, you've always been such a hothead. You've always had such a temper. It's always been almost fiery. And he says, Reed, you get your rocks off or something. I don't remember what he says for Reed. It's like, you've always thought you're just good for being strong, but really you're a smart guy and you think the worst thing about you is your brute strength, but yada yada yada.
It's something
whatever.
like you've always just relied on your strength, but your brains are really, which doesn't make any
Right.
sense. He's like,
No,
and me,
but the-
Reed Richards,
I
I've
mean, I
always
always
stretched
stretch
myself too
myself-
thin.
Yeah, and this
And
one is
Sue
you see his
Storm,
pit stains.
you're shy. So you're invisible. That's what gives him the epiphany. Is she's like, I've always been so shy around you, because she has a crush on this man who's groomed her.
Yeah. Right.
But that's when he has his epiphany, and the Thing gets upset, and so he storms off and becomes a homeless man for a little bit, which is a
Kevin
weird.
Spacey, that's a famous pedophile.
Right.
Trying to think of one earlier.
Right,
Sorry.
right. But we've forgotten about the Mole Man subplot yet again. The Mole Man has kidnapped Miss Masters, the blind woman who has a crush on Lenny from The Office.
Lenny's thing is wanted by Misty Masters.
Lou Thingringno.
Why not Lou for Thingno? Yeah.
Anyway.
So, yeah. Okay. So that's we get Mole Man's goons who don't talk, but they go. They mumble and mutter and yap, which is just great. And then Mole Man says he wants a queen.
He does want a queen, so he get them some blind woman because moles can't see.
Yeah, so they go get a blind woman to be his Mrs. Moleman.
And then the Thing, after being homeless, decides to go rescue her. Well, the Mole Men, they kidnap homeless people to bring them in to be goons. And,
right, yeah, because it's the Foot Clan.
And the Thing becomes one of these goons, but then takes the blind woman back. She feels his face, and she's like, "Oh, you're made of rocks. I like that, because I like to work with clay."
Right.
Hey, Daniel,
she wants to get his rocks off.
Say something sad real quick.
I'm a rock monster.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so he then gets his rocks off? Is this when this happens? Doom shows up.
No, they go back to fight Doom. Sue Storm comes in with the costumes, which are perfectly comic accurate. They suck, but they're perfectly comic accurate. This is the prime example of, and this is the me who used to do like concept art designs.
Right.
Coming out.
This is design nerd you.
This is design nerd me coming out. These costumes are when people say they want like a perfectly comic accurate costume.
Yes, this is an example. This, along with plenty of other things, is a perfect example of why comic accuracy. I mean, really, this whole movie is a perfect example of
Comic accuracy is not
isn't
all it's cracked
a
up to
good
be.
thing.
And
Yeah.
we
It is
watched we wound up
fine to
watching
take
clips.
artistic liberties in your comic book movie.
We wound up watching
Don't let any nerds tell you otherwise.
Yeah, directors who are watching this are about to direct the
a lot of
MCU.
a lot of big
Directors
big name
really
comic
like
book movies
this,
watch
yeah.
this
They like this
podcast.
podcast.
We're big in the directors circle.
We're your favorite
sure.
podcast, all right? Now come on.
We're your favorite director's favorite director is Roger Corman.
Right. We wound up watching a few clips. We wanted to watch not the Avengers. We wanted to watch the Fanforstic clip after this because this movie made us laugh about that clip. And so we wound up pulling up the scene from Age of Ultron, like the end scene where he's like, Avengers!
Well, yeah, because you said that the stupid ass. Say that again. Well, that's pretty fantastic. That makes the Avengers.
Guys,
one
I've
not-
got it.
I got it. We're the. And then
Yeah.
because that makes the Avengers one not stupid and corny, which it is. It's stupid and corny.
Yeah, but I like Age of Ultron.
But I like
anyway,
it. I love Age of Ultron. Yeah.
So we're watching Age of Ultron, and Captain America walks in, and it's like the clip of like it's the very end of the movie. He's walking in his
it's the
full
one
gear,
they're like talking about the hammer or whatever, and he's dripped out.
and seeing that in comparison with these costumes, right? Like it's like
Yeah.
they're both perfectly comic accurate costumes, right? I mean, there's no arguing that the MCU's Captain America costume is comic accurate, especially Age of Ultron.
20 years apart, those movies are.
Which is nuts.
Only 20 years.
Only 20 years.
less than both of our ages.
You see both of those, and it's like, okay, here's how you make a comic accurate costume work.
That looks cool and good and makes sense in context,
yes,
in universe.
Looks like somebody who is an ex-military type guy in the 21st century who's fighting robots.
Right. 21st century schizoid man, as it were.
Yes, that's who Captain America is. Versus like, okay, here's a version that doesn't work. And even contrasting with that, Fanforstic. I love the design of the costumes in Fanforstic, especially Human Torch. I think Human Torch has the perfect costume.
Human Torches is cracked, yeah.
And I like all of them in that, really, except for
Reed's is fine, yeah.
I don't like that the thing doesn't wear pants, but you do. So
I like that. I think it's funny that they showed him without pants. I think they should have given him pants at some point.
But they don't.
Have them, but they don't. Yeah.
Even the 2004 movie has this super sick costume.
Yeah.
This movie,
they used those costumes in like a car commercial or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Some silly thing.
They
like
reuse
that,
those costumes a lot, actually. They just they pop the Ford logo off, and they're perfect, just generic spacesuits.
Right.
Yeah. They are kind of generic.
That's what they are in the context, right?
Yeah.
They're like spacesuits. Yeah.
This movie, they don't give any context except for they say that Johnny's is fire retardant.
Well, they say yeah.
But no, the costumes suck. I mean, they're perfectly comic accurate, but comic accuracy sucks. It's overrated. Yeah. Who cares?
They are spandex suits that look like the comic suits. They got the white and the four and the
and it's the huge four in the middle, and it's
the big one and the big white belt,
which is what they had in the '90s show, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, so Reed Richards fights Dr. Doom and knocks him off the side of a building.
Does he?
Yeah.
Are we at the end of the movie?
Yeah, we're at the end of the movie.
You skipped a lot. You can't do plot breakdown.
What did I skip? They get the costumes.
Doom kidnaps. What's her nuts? Doesn't he?
No, the Mole Man kidnaps her.
Yeah, but then Doom kidnaps her from him, and then he's like shooting his laser beams at.
You're right.
He gets his rocks off.
Yeah, you're right. I skipped that one little scene, and then we're back at the costumes.
Yeah,
it's one scene that I skipped. Yeah, so
yeah, but it was me saying he gets his rocks off. That's what you skipped. That's what's important.
Right. So
the thing gets his rocks off.
Right.
Daddy needed to get his rocks off.
Yeah, Doom winds up kidnapping blind Miss Masters lady while Ben Grimm is a mole man. Or a moon. A moon?
Does it ever? Sure. Does it ever explain why he lost his rocks in that one
No,
scene, and
not
then
even a
got
little
them
bit.
back
It's almost like
a moment
it
later
was
when
like
he got
I
angry
wanted to
and
be
they
a
did
human, and then he's like, but I need my powers to save my woman, so it comes back.
Right,
But it's
so
all implied. There's nothing actually explicitly stated.
right. They just show a Lou Ferrigno Hulk non-showing transformation
Right.
where it just quick shit.
Lou Ferrigno's Hulk had way more showing of the
Yeah.
transformation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we cut back to the Baxter building and
Um,
everybody gets their costumes.
but
And
this
then
one
they
was
go to
fine.
Doctor Doom.
I think I lagged out.
That's when they go to Doctor Doom, and then Reed Richards
so
fights Doom and knocks him off the
they
side of
go
the building.
they go into the Doom laser chamber, and they get trapped in the holographic tubes.
Yes. Oh, it was so stupid. I wish if we get enough people who start to watch this podcast and whatever, and one of the things I would love to do is I would love to start like a Patreon, because the thing that I would put up on our Patreon is just our discussion watching these movies. Because I can't put that on
yeah.
YouTube. So
Right.
so send this to your friends. If you want to see our discussion watching these movies, send this to your friend. Let's build this up so we can do this. So we're trying to do a thing here. Anyway, as we're watching this movie,
Thing? Say that again. Say that one more time.
Say that one more time. So we're trying to do a thing here. But anyway, so they walk into this building, and it shows these like perfectly stationary, almost projector-looking things. And they're pointed directly downwards in the same four spots that our Fantastic Four are standing, and it locks them into these like holograms. But it's only possible, and I mean only possible, if they're in these exact four spots, and it's so funny to me.
Yeah, hey, look, Doctor Doom's been planning this for 10 years.
Right. He knew
You know,
exactly where they were gonna
he
stand.
knew it to a T.
He's Batman
to
with
a
prep
D.
time, bro.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're trapped in their tubes. Then
They escape the
Reed
tubes.
Reed uses his toe.
Oh, his feet.
He squeezes his little toe and then all of his foot through the bottom somehow, because that's the thing, he can just get flat enough to whatever. He kicks Doom in the ass, literally, and then I guess turns off the things, and then they're all out, and then they're fighting Doom bots, and they beat him up, and then they beat up Doctor Doom and push him off a cliff, and it's
Yeah. Reed pushes Doom off the side of a cliff, and he falls to his death, and that's the end of the movie.
He
The end of
punches
the
him a
movie
bunch
is
of
the
times
wedding.
by extent. The wedding. They get married in their costumes. Everyone's wearing their costumes except
Which
for
is
Sue, who's
so
in the
stupid.
bride's
She's
dress,
in a
of
bride's
course.
dress. Everyone else is in their costume. It's so stupid.
Yeah. But
Like-
again, gotta be a comic thing.
Probably, yeah. I guarantee you, if you look up Fantastic Four wedding from the comics, that's what you'll see.
Surely.
But yeah. So okay, here's the thing about this movie: is this movie great? No. Is it the second best not Captain America? Is this the second best Fantastic Four movie? Yes, almost definitely.
Yeah. Again, depends on how you're defining best.
Well, I think even because Silver Surfer's not very good.
It's not, but I feel like on a technical level, Silver Surfer is better than
Silver
this movie.
Surfer probably looks better than this movie. I don't know that the script of Silver Surfer is better than this movie. Genuinely, I
don't know. I can comment that much. I haven't seen it in a while, but I feel like it's gotta be better than.
The only thing
The script isn't terrible in this, but
the only plot point I remember from Silver Surfer is Sue Storm having a zit and making it invisible for the wedding.
I don't remember that. I don't remember
Which is
that there was a
stupid
wedding.
plot.
I don't remember that there was a wedding in
Reed
that.
and Sue, the whole movie, the whole Silver Surfer movie
I remember,
takes place leading up to Sue and
the
John.
power switching
Yes.
thing that with
Doom
Johnny
comes
and,
back,
and
Silver
Grim.
Surfer comes in, but the whole
Doom
movie
does come back. Yeah,
the whole movie
that.
takes place, and it's like leading up to. We'll do that movie soon.
Galactus is a cloud.
Why don't we
I
do that
remember
movie next week, and we'll compare it to this one?
No, I don't want to watch Blade next week.
Yeah, I also want to watch Blade.
I
Anyway,
love Blade, dude.
but the whole movie is taking place over the wedding weekend. It's like the last season of How I Met Your Mother.
Right.
But yeah,
one.
that movie's not good. I've seen it. It's not good.
Yeah, I've seen it. I like it.
I think this movie is genuinely, and not just from like a oh ha 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 funny bad perspective. It's better than this one. This one is better than Fanforstic. The first 2000s Fantastic Four movie might be better than this, but it's the only one I think that is. But not only is this movie probably better than those, it's also way more enjoyable.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I would say this movie's probably more enjoyable than the one that came out 10 years later.
Yeah.
Although
sure.
like with Rise of Silver Surfer, I haven't seen it in
ages.
years.
Yeah.
So what the fuck do I know?
No, that is the thing. I haven't seen any other Fantastic Four movie in a long time. Probably like 2 or 3 years. I watched them all recently for some reason. I had a hankering for the Fantastic Four.
Fan Four Stick is probably the most recent one I've seen, and that was, years ago. Not in the 2020s, I don't think. Or maybe it was 2020. Maybe it was quarantine. I watched that. That seems like the only
that
reason
seems like the time. I think I watched them all over quarantine because I didn't have anything else to do, and I had kind of a hankering for Fantastic Four.
It's possible I watched all of them over quarantine. The only one I remember is Fan Four Stick.
Now I've never seen this one in its entirety.
It's silly.
This is the perfect bad movie for like having your friends over to sit down and watch a bad movie. Order a pizza, crack open a 12-pack, like let's just sit and watch a bad movie together. This is the perfect movie for that. And you can watch the whole thing on YouTube, which makes it even better. Way better than Howard the Duck, way better than Captain America 1990. It is legitimately enjoyable. It has
way better than The Room. Has Denny from The Room. So.
Maybe the version of The Room that you talked about last week that has all the sex scenes edited out. If you've seen The Room, actually, I will say this. If you've seen The Room and you like The Room, this is comparable in terms of being made. It's incompetent, it's bad, but it's also funny and it has that heart in it and you can tell people cared about it. That's the thing about Roger Corman movies. They have this heart to them where it's like you can tell this man cared about making this movie, even if he wanted to do it for 6 nickels.
Right.
He probably grew up reading these comic books if he knew how to read. He grew up looking at the pictures.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, formally, and this is the first movie in a long time where I've been able to say I would recommend you watch this movie.
Oh, wholeheartedly, yeah.
I stand by it. Go watch it. It's great. You're going to like it.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd recommend watching it alone. I mean, you'll have fun.
Absolutely not.
I still think this movie can be enjoyable alone. Like you want to watch a bad movie, have a couple laughs, get a drink on, whatever. But if you really want to enjoy this to its fullest, watch it with your stupidest friends, whoever your dumbest friends are. Get them, watch this movie. You're gonna have a blast.
All right, that's all for this week. We'll see you next week on Semi Pro when we watch Blade, probably.